What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and updates. So, a handful of updates from Bungie to cover in this one, upcoming nerfs and changes for weapons. On top of that though, we'll talk about puzzles taking place right now, the huge community puzzle with the chessboard, which is very curious, and seemingly Bungie managed to leak their own expansion bundle, which reveals that this upcoming year of Destiny will be referred to as Year of Prophecy, and we're assuming that that relates to both of the expansions that we're going to get in 2025. So we've got all of that, as well as additional teasers and previews. And so if you guys enjoy the video, get subscribed to the channel, as half of the viewers here haven't yet done that. It would really help us out, but otherwise, now let's get into it. And so, first up today, in terms of future updates for the game, we know we're getting the major update at the start of May with Ride of the Nine, and Bungie had said there will be a small sandbox tune-in pass alongside that. There's still been a lot of conversation about Invisible Hunters, Radiant Dance Machines, and Redrix's S-Dock. Herbie on X did say, surely there's a nerf coming to that with the Ride of the Nine patch, and the Destiny 2 team simply said, stay tuned. So, looks like that will be the third or fourth. Is it 3 or 4? I'm not sure. But Bungie have been tuning these a bunch of times, and Redrix in particular has stayed very strong, so another change for that is certainly coming. And again, it seems reasonably likely that it will be on the update on May 6th, so that's the first thing. Otherwise, given that DMG has now been elevated to, I believe it's community lead for Destiny, Bungie are hiring a contract Destiny 2 senior community manager for the game. Of course, it's kind of ironic, given the layoffs that we saw last year, that they're now hiring more people to do these jobs. But this is what happens in big companies, I guess. So if anyone feels like applying, that is available on the Bungie careers portal, and we'll see how it pans out on the road up to the next expansion. Otherwise, a quick thing here, separate, but there have been a couple of questions recently about players joining others, and it turning out that someone on the team is cheating. The Destiny 2 team's official response is to make sure you leverage in-game report tools whenever you come across cheating, even if it's on your team, especially if there's any concern that you could also have that impact your account, right? And Bungie do say we do our best to not ban players who are victims in cheating scenarios. So I wouldn't stress too much if you have a good history, but importantly, reporting any abuse is the first step that they highlight, so keep it in mind. Next up though, something a bit juicier in terms of looking forward to future content, and this appeared last night on the Bungie store. So a pre-order became available for an item called Destiny 2 Year of Prophecy Collector's Edition. It's since been taken down. Also at the time that it went live, the product was out of stock, so no one could actually purchase it. Obviously a listing for the future, but it would appear that Year of Prophecy is essentially the name for Frontiers, which was the umbrella term in development for the 2 expansions that we're getting this year. So we know the first one is Edge of Fate. The second one is codenamed Behemoth, and presumably the Year of Prophecy Collector's Edition will include both of the expansions, the battle passes, and essentially all of the content for the next year. And yes, players have noticed that this is listed as being $275, which is certainly very expensive, but keep in mind, this appears to be a physical collector's edition. And in terms of pricing, that's pretty similar to what we saw for collector's editions for previous expansions, which isn't just the game, it's the box, the statues, the books, whatever it may be. So it pretty much lines up with what we've seen in the past, and this will not be the actual cost of just the expansions, right? Worth mentioning that. But obviously, with this next year being referred to as Year of Prophecy, Edge of Fate is also a 9-themed thing, and I wonder whether that means that Behemoth will have a strong link to the 9 as well, or, I guess, equally likely, the events of Behemoth will bounce off whatever happens in Edge of Fate. So, certainly an interesting one, but given that this is listed on the Bungie store, I'd say Year of Prophecy is essentially good as confirmed, and it's only a few days now until we get more details about it, so give us your thoughts in the comment section. The other interesting thing that's happened this week, obviously, is the chess puzzle thing that showed up. So initially, this opened up via Eris's throne world, the room in Eris's apartment where a chessboard has appeared on the floor beneath where Eris stands. The initial sort of individual phase is to complete 27 unique puzzles, or should we say solutions, which are done by moving chess pieces around the board. I'll link a thread down below that has all 27 solutions, as when we're actually completing them, we do get some rewards, including heresy weapons, and the 15th solution will actually drop a shiny adept weapon, which is pretty cool. But once all 27 have been inputted, the chessboard will change, and this is essentially where the community puzzle really begins. So in this second part, the chessboard for individual players is displaying different patterns, and every time it displays a pattern, it also shows a signal frequency, which is a unique board number. And there appear to be many thousands of different signal frequencies, so folks in the community have created various forms for players to submit those frequencies, and ultimately the goal is to decipher something from all of the inputs that have been received. That's about all I really know know about it, but it is essentially Corridors of Time 2.0, something which appears to be kind of equivalent to that. Outside of the initial rewards, the Adept weapon, and an emblem, which we're likely to get at the end of this, we don't know what else the reward could be. Quite possibly though, there could be something hidden. It could even lead to a teaser for the next expansion at the same time. We're just going to have to wait and see, but Corridors of Time, going back, actually took, I believe it was 6 days to complete, so it's anyone's guess at the moment how long this will be active for. I will, however, link a couple of threads down below if you want to get involved with that if you've completed the first part of the chess puzzle. There are a few different forms where players can submit their individual frequencies and hopefully contribute to ultimately getting a solution to this. I believe at the end, by the way, there'll be one clear solution that players will essentially be able to go back to the chessboard and input to complete the puzzle on an individual basis and unlock any sort of rewards or things associated with it. So that's what we can expect at the end, but gonna take a while to get there, and give us your thoughts down below. Finally, right here, a quick rundown of some of the stuff that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Firstly, the Edge of Fate reveal is dropping next week on the 6th. That'll be the same day that Ride of the Nine kicks off. Going back to some leaks we had regarding Edge of Fate and the pre-order bonuses for it, presumably if the pre-order goes live with the reveal, the bonuses will become available at the same time. One of those bonuses, according to leaks, so obviously not 100% confirmed, but one of the bonuses will be New Land Beyond, which is the reprised version of the weapon from Destiny 1. And so if indeed this is a pre-order bonus, then presumably we could be getting our hands on that weapon once again in less than a week's time, which is pretty cool, but we'll have to wait for confirmation. According to the reports, the intrinsic trait is the Master, where scoring precision hits increases the weapon's damage until the wielder's defeat, plus a secondary trait called Bullseye Bolster, where landing a precision hit substantially increases the weapon's target acquisition, handling, reload speed, and stability for a short time. So it'll be interesting to try that out. It's definitely a curious choice for a pre-order item, but we'll get confirmation of whether that indeed is a thing next week. Separately, Bungie Leaks also shared a still from a reveal cutscene for Edge of Fate. Obviously, again, not confirmed, and spoiler alert right here if you don't want to see it, but this is the image that they've shared. Of course, we know that we're going to a strange new destination. It's interesting as well that we can see a sort of aircraft carrier looking ship there, which is incredibly reminiscent of some early artwork that Bungie shared for Apollo. So it looks like there's a reasonable chance this is legit, and we know the 9 will be involved as well, with the emissary featuring prominently there. So we'll get all of that next week with the reveal. Otherwise, it'll be time for Ride of the 9 in itself, and Bungie have said they'll give us some free currency, allowing us to pick up a couple of weapons from the event, and we'll get that next week when it launches. Obviously, you may choose to hold on to that currency for at least a few days until you can get a contest clear and see how the loot rotations work, as you might not want to blow all of that currency straight away. So it's one thing to think about, and I'm anticipating that we'll get information about Ride of the 9 probably this week in a bit more detail. Separately though, following that, a couple of days after, we'll be going into the heavy metal game mode arriving, and that will be on the 9th of May for the weekend. So as Bungie outlined, there will be what they call an event home for this, and this is basically going to be the new event card. So it will also apply to Solstice, which will be coming a bit later in the summer after the expansion. And in this event card, we'll see an event rank track. So by playing the relevant game modes, we'll be able to level up and pick up rewards. Plus there'll be daily and weekly challenges, basically like seasonal challenges, but housed exclusively in this event home. So it's going to mix things up a little bit. And for heavy metal itself, destroying an opposing vehicle will score 1 point, then collecting the coin they drop will score an additional point. So it's basically supremacy. And collecting coins will replenish health and secondary weapon ammo, plus the current leader of the match glows and has improved dodge, but if we defeat them and collect the gold coin they drop, that'll score 2 points, and the first team to score 50 points will win. There are also a handful of tabs to this event home, one of them with a destination icon, so gonna be a few interesting elements to this that we'll discover in the game. And again, lots more details coming very soon. For today though guys, that is what we have to speak about. So if you've enjoyed the video, a rating below really does help us on the channel. Also be sure as well to get subscribed and I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, for today, thank you for tuning in and I will catch you guys very soon.